The new year is fast approaching and I, like many people, have goals and things that I would like to achieve next year. It isn't always easy to stick to those goals and achieve them though. In fact, almost 25% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions after 30 days. And only 8% actually go through with their New Year resolutions and complete them. So what can we do to be part of that 8%? Goal setting is something I think all of us can do throughout the year and all of us should be doing throughout the year, and this is no exception. In fact, I think this is probably one of the best times to set your goals for next year because it's almost a fresh start. However, as with all goals, you need to have some sort of idea of what they're doing and make sure that they are realistic. Now, everyone's goals are going to be different. One of my goals for next year is to graduate my degree, which is realistic, hopefully. But that is a goal for me that is attainable. If someone wants to graduate a degree and hasn't started it, obviously that's not realistic or attainable. Now, I recognise that is quite obvious, and I also recognise that graduating from my master's degree is a goal that should already have been set because that's when my deadline is. However, if I don't recognise that that is a goal, I am less likely to actively look and try and improve and plan to complete that goal for next year. So if I don't set the goal or I'm not aware of the goal, I am more likely to procrastinate, and when it comes to the end of the year, being very stressed with having to do everything at once. If there are things next year that you want to do and are realistic and achievable, then I suggest setting the goal and doing something about it. When I say doing something about it, there are things you can do that actively engage you in completing your goal. Planning is one of those things. It sounds simple, but planning your goal, where you want to be, what you want to do, and get checkpoints as to how you're going to achieve that goal gives you an idea and a scale, a measurable scale as to where you are in completing the goal. Are you 10% done, 20% done, 50% done, etc. Planning will also give you an endpoint if you have an endpoint for that goal. This will allow you to outline a plan and an understanding of where you want to be at a certain point in the year. If it is a very quick goal, then obviously planning is much easier and it's much shorter. If it's a longer term goal, so for me, one of my other goals is my impact on social media, and what I want to try and do is be consistent over the stuff that I put out over social media over the year, which 365 days of content is a lot. It's a big challenge, but that is the challenge that I'm going to set myself as one of my targets for next year. Some of you may have recently seen on Instagram or on Facebook where I put up a video about my targets and suggestions of what I'm going to do on YouTube. The plan is to try and upload one video with valuable content within theory, and what I also want to try and do is continue to put content out over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn that relate to the topics to get conversations going, hopefully where either I or other people that know more than me can give value to other people that have questions or queries about coaching, professional development, etc. Now, for those things to happen alongside my education and other things that I have going on in my life, I have to understand that planning, productivity and effective use of my time is important. You may have your own way of planning out your day, planning out what you're going to do, have a to-do list or something like that. I have my own way of doing it. If you want to know what I do, feel free to put something in the comments below and I can tell you the apps I use, what I choose to use, when I use them, how I plan my day, how I plan my month, and how I try and achieve my goals. But understanding what you're doing and where you're using your time is important, especially if you want to be productive with your time. Prioritizing your goals is something else that I think is fairly important when you look at New Year's resolutions. If you have 10 goals and you want to try and complete all of them, you need to be able to prioritize one over the other, because sometimes things go wrong, sometimes things happen, and you need to have a priority as to what goal you want to achieve first. For me, education comes first over the YouTube and social media. However, networking through social media does coincide with my education and my career development. So they are very close, but I prioritize my education first. But networking and all the things I'm doing over social media is obviously highly impacting my career and my development, so they are very closely intertwined. Now, most of us will have goals in mind that we won't put out on paper, we won't speak, or we won't put out so that we have accountability for them. I have put some of my goals out in this video, creating accountability, and I'm going to put the rest of my goals for next year out later on in the video. But what I suggest suggest you do is, if you have goals in mind, actually put them to paper, put them on your phone. You don't have to tell someone, you just need to have some sort of accountability within yourself to achieve those goals. So one of the other goals I have in my head with regards to networking, obviously over social media, but being able to communicate with individuals face to face is something else that we have to do as a coach. It is the practicing profession. So one of my other goals for next year is to do more networking, workshops, CDP events and other conferences, so I can speak to other professionals, other individuals, whether they're PhD students, whether they're lecturers, whether they're practicing within the profession. I want to talk face to face with other individuals. As I briefly spoke about within my planning, I think it's important to have checkpoints. So for example, my degree, I don't have to submit my final research until September. So in theory, I have 9 months worth of work, but if I set that goal now, which is what I'm doing, I have to plan that 9 months worth of work, which means if I just have one goal, it's a long time to stay motivated. If I put checkpoints throughout the year as to where I want to be, what I want to have done, I have small goals that link up to that big macro goal at the end of the year, which is what I'm looking to focus on. Obviously, these checkpoints for you will be different depending on the length of time you have your goal, what your goal is, what you're looking to do, how difficult is it, etc. But having checkpoints, mini goals as they were, would definitely help you achieve your long-term goal, which hopefully you've got one of those that you're going to be pushing out for the new year. The last point I want to raise is persistence, because even though things go wrong, you still need to be persistent with what you're doing. As I said at the beginning of the video, 25% of people give up after 30 days. Many experts suggest that it takes 21 days just to create a habit change, and they suggest it takes a whole 6 months for it to be a persistent habit change. So if you're looking to do something within your health, whether that's be more active, whether that's eat healthier or anything like that, if you slip up once or twice within the first 4 months, it's not going to make a difference as long as you are persistent with actively trying to change and actively trying to create that new behavior. So be persistent with what you're trying to do. One failure, one slip up, one hurdle doesn't stop you from achieving the goal. All it does is give you a little bit of a bump in the road, which is what the process is all about. Learning and developing and overcoming challenge. Don't get me wrong, I know change is hard. I try and change all the time, and I fall back into old habits. But if you're going to make a difference, if you're actually going to try and achieve those goals you set out, you need to be persistent. It is not easy, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is difficult, it's a challenge, and the harder you set the goal, the harder it will be, obviously, but you need to be persistent with what you want to do if you want to achieve what you set out to do. So for those of you that have got to this part of the video, I do want to say thank you that you've actually watched all the way through, or you may have just skipped to this point. But what I want to do is talk about my goals for the new year and how I plan on attaining them. I'm not going to go over the ones I've already expressed in the video in much depth because I've already spoken about them, but I do have some other side goals that I'd like to do that aren't high priority, but I do want to give myself some accountability by putting them on camera. Graduation was the first goal, so all I'm going to say is that's what I want to do. I want to graduate my master's degree, put in all of my assignments and finish that. My presence on social media, I do want to be consistent. I do want to put at least one video up a week on YouTube, and I do want to put at least one piece of content out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn every day. So that is 4 pieces of content a day, and I'm going to hold myself to that. What I want to try and do is have more face-to-face communication, which I've already said. I am going to a conference at Middlesex University in March, and I'm looking to do another conference maybe later on in the year. But as an objective goal that I'm going to give myself, what I want to try and do is go to at least 3 new contexts, so different environments that I haven't currently been in, and speak to people within those contexts in the next year. That is aside from the 2 conferences that I plan on going to. So I plan to give myself 5 different environments that I'm going to go into, that I'm not comfortable in, that I do not know much in, or I'm going to be talking to people that I don't know. Another goal that I want to do in the new year is, because YouTube is new to me and being on camera is completely new to me, I do want to try and commit to one either vlog type video throughout a week, or be more active on Instagram stories and have the ability to talk on camera in front of well, not necessarily in front of an audience, but in public without being nervous. That goal may take a while to complete, but if I don't put it out there, I will not do it. So this is my accountability video, and if I don't do it by the end of 2020, I will come back to this video and I will just force myself to go and do it. But thanks for listening, hope you've got something from it, and I'll see you in the new year.